Hello, guys. Welcome to my official YouTube podcast, Gauravya. So I have been joined by none other than Michael Wagner, who was missing in this T20 World Cup. But since New Zealand have won this match comprehensively, so we decided to bring him back. Michael, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be back.
So the match has turned out to be one-sided for New Zealand, right? It looks like at one point of time on the first inning that New Zealand will be in a deep trouble once they lost 6 wickets. But McConaughey and Mitchell Sattner had a decent partnership, and they went on to score some handful knock on the lower down the order. And at the end, it was a brilliant par. I think at that kind of a pitch, it would be a par score.
Yeah. I think well, the ball it was turning quite a bit, and and I think probably actually a pass score was probably about 140. But yeah, New Zealand were in real trouble. They'd gone from didn't have a terrible start. What was it? It was they were 73 for two after nine, so 8 and over, going along pretty well, and then just the wheels fell off. They scored 17 runs in the next six overs, so less than 3 and over, and lost 4 wickets, and it looked like it was game over. At 90 for six after 15 overs, you think there's no coming back from that, but there was coming back from that, and particularly the last 4 overs, just outstanding. And it was interesting that
Yeah,
what
it was just
happened.
mind blowing.
Yeah, well, what happened is Sri Lanka brought back their quick bowlers, and because the ball was turning and it was hard, there was biting in the pitch with the spinners. It was hard to play against spin. But when the quick bowlers came on, there wasn't enough in the pitch to make it really challenging, and the bowlers, the Santner and McConkey started putting some pressure on, and the bowlers just didn't respond. We started seeing, short balls and full tosses, and it just was, those Sri Lankan quicks are much better than what they produced today. Today was not a performance that they'll be looked back on with any fondness at all. And once New Zealand got the momentum, the foot never slipped. They just, then that first over from Matt Henry, it just and then the big thing I think was Cole McConchie's first over, because we know he can bowl from New Zealand cricket, domestic cricket. We know he can. He's a handy bowler, but he hasn't really showed it at international level yet. But that first over with the fielding restrictions up to only go for six, and all of a sudden Sri Lanka are 6 for 1 after 2 overs, and we've got through one of the overs of the question marks out of the road. It's huge. And then Rachin Ravindra, the turn he was getting, there was some big turning deliveries to go past the outside edge and get some stumpings. But that pitch, there was a lot of assistance in there, and there was some pretty impressive captaincy from Santner to say, Lockie Ferguson, you've got 1 over for 2 runs. You're not bowling again. Matt Henry, you've got 2 for 3 off 2 overs. That's it. Your day's done. That's gutsy stuff to say. Look, we know it's easy to hit pace at the end, so we're just not going to bring the pace bowlers back. Outstanding.
So don't you think there was a tactical error from Sri Lankan captain? So he didn't went for all out and gave away a lot of runs in the last 4 overs, and at that point of time, the match completely changed.
Yeah, I mean, the question is it an error, or is it something that you couldn't have really predicted, but then after New Zealand saw it, they knew to adapt to it? It's not. It's pretty standard captaincy to bring back your quick bowlers at the end, particularly guys who've got a record of being quite good at the death. The change of pace is one of the hardest things to deal with at the death, and you get a much bigger change of pace from a quick bowler bowling a slow ball than you do from a spinner bowling a quicker one. So, it's textbook captaincy to do it. It just didn't work, and it's not that it didn't work. It significantly didn't work. It was horrendous. But once it started, there was no real fix to it. Perhaps what we should have seen was Chimera coming in and bowling some overs in the middle when the batsmen were new to the crease and get through some of those there. But easy to say that in hindsight. At the time, Sri Lanka were looking like they were, had New Zealand in all sorts of trouble, and you don't let the pressure off. So yeah.
Tell me something about McConaughey because I have seen him for the first time right now. So he batted quite brilliantly today, and he was decent with the ball. Although he didn't pick the wicket, but he was quite brilliant today.
Yeah, look, he's known as a thinking cricketer in New Zealand. He's someone who really does. He's a good fielder. He's a good batter. He's a good bowler. He's not really. He's a genuine all rounder in terms of he's not really quite good enough to make the team simply as a bowler, but he's almost good enough. And he's not good enough to make the team as a batsman, but he's almost good enough. And so if you get the conditions right for him, he's a very handy player. He showed that today. He scored a lot of runs for Canterbury, batting up the order, but not enough that he'd get picked on his batting alone, but enough that he's almost gets picked on that. And the fact that then he's also a really handy bowler. He was someone there'd been a few calls for him to get picked when he did get picked, because he'd been a good performer in domestic cricket for a number of years. And it's sort of the what New Zealand cricket started doing a little bit is picking the guys who've done the work in domestic cricket, learned their game, and then bringing them into internationals rather than picking players when they're young.
And that I have seen from Daryl Mitchell also. He was also, I think, at the age of 28 or 29, he made his debut.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, people were saying that they were talking about him. Is he going to be the best player to never play for New Zealand? Like that was the thought that he was probably only a year away from retiring, and he's since gone on to have a great international career. There's a guy that there's a young guy, Cartney Clark, who has played about 7 years now in domestic cricket. He was the top scorer in the T20 competition, Super Smash this year. And he's another guy that, you look at him and you think, well, maybe he's never going to make it. But now there's hope for those guys that New Zealand will pick them at 30. If they come good then, that's when they'll pick them. Jaden Lennox is another one. He's 31, made his debut and really did well against India in those one-dayers. Jacob Duffy's another one. He's 30, only just starting his career at international level, and yet he's had 10 years of experience. He got picked for Otago, I think, when he was 17. So he's played a lot, been playing domestic cricket for a long time. So it's it's something that New Zealand, with the quality of domestic cricket, has improved quite a bit in New Zealand in the last 15 years. It was pretty dire a few years back, but it's improved quite a lot. And the result of that means that players that prove themselves in domestic cricket are normally ready for the step up.
Talking about Matt Henry, I think he's bowling his best today. I think he's at his prime, if you ask me. What do you think about Matt Henry? Because I'm not only talking about his T20 format. He's bowling good in Test format. He has always been quite a remarkable bowler in the ODS format also. But I think he has involved as a T20 bowler also.
Yeah, look, if you can hit the seam and move it both ways, it doesn't matter who you're facing. You've got a good chance of getting them out. And I think I read that he's got when I pulled the numbers, he was the best first over bowler in the world, first 5 overs, best bowling in the first 5 overs. Mitchell Stark's done really well. He's got a really low average and a really low strike rate, but Matt Henry's slightly better on both those counts across all 3 formats. He's been just remarkable in the last 3 years or so. And the same thing, if you can hit the seam and move it both ways, so the batsman doesn't know which way it's going to go, and you can do it with a degree of control that means you're putting the ball in the right place, creating that pressure, that's a very, very difficult thing to face.
And last question, will you think that New Zealand can go ahead to be in the final in Ahmedabad.
I mean, look, I said at the start of the tournament, you need to win 4 games. It's the crucial 4 games. New Zealand have just won one of them. We've still got 3 to go. So, although depending on how the England Pakistan go, we may just so Sri Lanka Pakistan, depending on how that game goes, we may not need to. We may only need to win 2 more. But look, anything can happen from this place. The teams, New Zealand, England, um, India, West Indies, South Africa, all have a good chance of winning this tournament.
India is just struggling, by the way, mate.
Look,
Just because of the
India
one
has
bad
lost
match.
one game.
Just because of
India
the
has lost
one
one
bad
game.
match, they are struggling.
India have only lost one game. It was a big loss, and it was a big loss. But one game, you've got to. They're still in the place. If they win the next 4 games, they'll win the World Cup. That's it. It really comes down to that. Win 4 games, you win the World Cup
It's
from here.
only it's not only about the 4 matches for India right now, mate. Because I think they need to win 2 matches and they need to win by a big margin. Also, they need to hope South Africa win all their matches. So I
Yeah,
think
look,
that tomorrow South Africa will be playing with West Indies, if I'm not wrong, and that match will decide that how India gonna play with Zimbabwe, and what will be the future of India in this T20 World Cup.
yeah, look. If West Indies beat South Africa, then things do get a little bit complicated for India. But I
No,
think I
no,
still
it will.
think
I think it will not be get complicated. I think then we will wish that South Africa will lose all the rest of the 2 matches which they will play. I think they will play West Indies, and I think they will play one
then
more match. I think
Zimbabwe. Yeah.
we will yeah, they will play Zimbabwe, and we will pray that they lose all their matches.
Yeah, well, that's it. But I mean, I think, you know, I personally think South Africa will beat the West Indies, but you never know with South Africa, and you never know. West Indies are always capable of a good performance, and South Africa are always capable of a bad one. So you can't write off either. You can't say either team, um, but I mean, I still think it comes down to New Zealand need to win 3 more games, India need to win 4 more games. South Africa need to win 3 more games. West Indies need to win 3 more games. That's really what it comes down to. It, and England need to win 2 more. Um, and potentially Pakistan could get through, and Zimbabwe is still technically possible too. But I mean, I think it really comes down to at this point here who can put those good games together. And what you notice is the teams that are doing well, I think, are the teams that have a well-balanced bowling lineup. So you've got you need a middle overs enforcer, a fast bowler who can create pressure in the middle overs. So New Zealand's got Lockie Ferguson, England's got Jofra Archer, South Africa's got Marco Jansen. You need a guy that's good with the new ball. You need a left arm spinner, an off spinner, and a wrist spinner. Ideally, if you've got those 5 elements in your team, and ideally also a left arm seamer. If you've got those 6 elements in your team, that's a really powerful combination because it means you can play the matchups. You can always have the sort of bowler that the batsmen find difficult bowling. England have got that. They've probably got the best balanced bowling lineup of anyone. But the teams that are left, most of them have a pretty good balanced bowling lineup. So it comes down to who actually fires on the day, and it's really interesting. This tournament's at a lovely, interesting point. It'll be possibly a little bit less interesting after the next 3 matches, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we're heading into the pointy end, and there's still, realistically, there's still 5 teams that you'd say have a good chance of winning this competition, and that's quite exciting.
Yeah, let's see what happens because I have already taken a ticket for the T20 World Cup final that will be held in Ahmedabad. I don't know whether India gonna be there or not, but let's see what happens. I'm gonna enjoy the T20 World Cup final no matter what. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Hey, can I
thank you,
say that?
Michael. Yep.
Isn't it just one thing? Isn't it incredible how quickly Sri Lanka's tournament has unravelled? Like
Yes,
they were,
yes, and that too. It was quite strange thing for me also, because they have played all their matches at their home soil, and still they don't manage to win, and they didn't manage to qualify itself. So that
well,
was a quite
they
strange thing, because India also managed to travel abroad. I think they played with Pakistan in
in
Sri
Colombo, yeah,
Lanka, but Sri Lanka played all their matches in Sri Lanka, but still they didn't manage to win most of the games.
yeah. Look, and I guess it's a problem when you're really reliant on a couple of players. That if those couple of players don't do well, your team is in big trouble.
They
And
lost their
when,
two players also. That they lost their main two bowlers who
yeah,
does well in their T20 format. I think Patirana and another name. I'm just forgetting the name of the one spinner. I think
Saranga, yep,
yeah, I'm just forgetting the name. They have missed their two bowlers. One is Patirana and other one is Tikshana. No, I'm just forgetting the name.
is
Patirana
Hasaranga,
Tikshana is there.
yep,
Hasuranga, yeah, yeah,
yep,
Hasuranga.
yeah,
Hasuranga, I think he's also been the main bowler in the T20 format for Sri Lanka for a long period of time. And
yeah,
Patirana, with his slingy action, he bowls well in the death overs also. So they miss their main two bowlers, and I think in probably last two matches which I've seen, I think it's not about the bowling which they have let them down. It's the batting is the main reason they are not winning the games.
yeah. Yeah, and but they were with 5 overs to go against Zimbabwe, or 7 overs to go against Zimbabwe. They were cruising to a win, and they were looking unstoppable. And then all of a sudden, that partnership between Sikandar Raza and Bennett that took the game away from them against Zimbabwe, and then England just destroyed them, and then New Zealand did likewise. But even in that game, they were the odds-on favourite at 90 for six. That was their game to lose, and you're looking at that point there and going, okay, Sri Lanka, the other team to watch, and in the space of 4 overs, 5 overs, the entire tournament was gone. It's incredible how quickly T20s can go. You can lose a game so fast.
And I was the one who was criticizing the West Indies bowling lineup, that they are not the good balanced team, because they doesn't have the quality spinners also. But some of the spinners I have seen, the left arm spinner, they have Akil Hussain one and another one. I'm just forgetting the name. They
Yeah,
are quite balanced team, and I was just searching their past history. Once they have won the T20 World Cup, I think in the 2012 T20 World Cup, they have won. That was happening in Sri Lanka, and once I think it was in 2016. At that point of time, it was happening in India. So you can well imagine, West Indies are favorite right now.
look, West Indies. Well, I mean, I think I said at the start that I thought they were a good chance of. I picked India and West Indies to go through,
Yes,
and New Zealand and
yes.
England. I think I've actually still got a pretty good chance of getting my four. I think South Africa they're gonna do me out of that, but West Indies. The fact is that on the end, it'll be interesting to see how they go at Ahmedabad if they do get there, because that ground isn't going to suit them as well as some of the others. Like Chinnaswamy and Eden Gardens got fairly short boundaries, which just play to the power game. Ahmedabad's got much larger boundaries. Once you're getting the boundary, there's a mark about 72 meters, somewhere around there, that all of a sudden you've got to hit it quite a lot harder to get it over that. And you know, it'll be interesting to see how they go there. I don't think that ground will suit them nearly as much as some of the others. And West Indies very much are an island cricket team. The sea breezes, the playing near the coast works well for them. I'm not sure that playing inland in Ahmedabad is going to give them that advantage. But then so's New Zealand and England very much play better in coastal matches too. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure talking to you with once again. I know I was outside, but still you managed to do the show. Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You're
I
welcome.
hope we will see you once again once the New Zealand matches happens.
Sounds good. All right. Catch you later.
Thank you, guys. Do like it, do subscribe it, and hit the bell icon. Thank you.